Hello everyone, and thanks for watching our weather update on the 5th of January 2023. So today, again, we're looking at all the models on weathercentral.d for the weather in Ireland, but at the end of the video, I'll be showing you some requested content from a subscriber called TigerScott_07 for the weather in Queensland in Australia. Now, if anyone else on the channel may be living in a different country, or maybe going on holiday to a different country, you're more than welcome to leave a request in the comments for the weather in your area or the area that you're visiting, because I'm more than happy to do it. And thanks very much to Tiger Scott for giving me that request. I'm more than happy to do it for you. Anyway, moving on to the video now. So we're starting off with the GFS run for Ireland. We can see that we got further low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. Quite a big storm there we see into the first weekend of January. Big low pressure coming in from the Atlantic. That'll be quite chilly with rain and hail showers, possibly thunderstorms coming in around it. Very, very windy. But finally we get a break, just a very, very brief break at that, on January 10th in the morning, before by the end of January 10th we get more low pressure off the Atlantic. Big storm there coming in. That clears off and we go, or we stay very, very unsettled, but we go quite cold there at the end of the run, I think. Yeah, we put high pressure in for a time. That's actually very, very mild. We put the 850 temperatures on. Oops, what happened there? There we go, that's more like it. We go very, very mild. And then we keep going on, and as I said, we go quite cold at the end of the run. Yeah, we go quite cold. Big northwesterly plunge in, and then we get a big northerly plunge right at the very end of the run, bringing in very cold air from the north. If we put the upper air temperatures on, there we go. Minus 12 Celsius ice storm coming flooding down from the north. Minus 10 Celsius ice storm trying to come down. This probably won't make it down, and these colours certainly won't make it to Ireland. Oops, what have I done? I don't know why, but I deleted the ECMWF run by accident. Okay, so here we go. I've got the ECMWF back up again. Going through then, we see more low pressure off the Atlantic, big storm system there through the first weekend of January, and then we run through and we keep it cold and unsettled. That's a GM done. We can actually get rid of it now. We can get rid of the GFS icon run. Same story. Low pressure coming in today. Quite a big storm for Scotland. That one actually is. We got rain coming in across the country right now as I'm speaking. Then we get again this big storm system from Greenland and Canada, and that just gives us real battering over the weekend of rain, wind, hail. Possibly thunderstorms, a bit of winteriness over the hills in the northwest. And then we go a bit colder there for Monday as the wind comes in from all the way from Svalbard. The wind's coming all the way from Svalbard on Monday. And then into Tuesday, we get more low pressure off the Atlantic. Back to all this mild, stormy weather. And it stays like that towards the end of the run. Although we're turning a bit colder with the wind from the north by the end of the run. But we can see very, very clearly that high pressure is collapsing to our south. And look at this big warm sector coming out of America. Big wodge of warm air that's got our name of it our name on it for sure. Oops. Arpège run then. This is the French run. So again, we see this big stormy system coming in from Greenland and Iceland. And at the end of the run, that clears through into next week. Only before we see more low pressure waiting in the wings. And then the GEM run, following that, we see stormy systems from the Atlantic again this weekend. That big system with rain, winds, hail, quite cold upper air temperatures around it and in it. Now, as I said in yesterday's video, you can see that we're pulling down cold air from Greenland, Svalbard and Scandinavia around the low pressure into Ireland from the Atlantic. Now, of course, all this cold air won't stay that cold all the way across the Atlantic. It's going to be moderated. So we can see that the -5 Celsius isotherm here and the -10 Celsius isotherm, they're sort of dying out as they come closer to Ireland. So the -5 Celsius isotherm is struggling to make it in. It gets quite close, but you see it starting to retreat towards Greenland. Now, with the cold upper temperatures taking such a long sea track, you're going to get a lot of convection as the seas are warm in comparison to the air. To get the warm air rising very rapidly and creating cumulonimbus clouds, loads of towering cumulus clouds as well, and they're just going to give thunderstorms, heavy showers, wintry showers if possible. So that's something to watch for. And then we get this big low coming in. That's quite a stormy system on the GEM run there. You can see it's powered by this warm sector and the cold sector meeting together at such a short distance between the warm and cold air. You can see 5 Celsius at 850 HPA over southeast England, but you're below freezing at around -2 over Scotland and Northern Ireland. So that big temperature contrast is really blowing up this low pressure system on January 11th. And then that clears through, and we're into a cold and unsettled pattern before we go milder around mid-January with a big southwesterly wind pushing in, the air originating from the Azores. You can see the 5 Celsius isotherm at 850 HPA waiting for us. Or should I say, waiting to come for us. There we go. It engulfs the country by 14th of January before we see a cold sector in the Atlantic starting to come out of Greenland and Canada and push this warm air away. Now, this is quite interesting. Low pressure could, if it moves to the southeast, bring us quite a cold air mass from Greenland and Canada. I can see this high pressure from the Azores is ridging towards Canada, and that would create a northwest-southeast alignment to the jet stream. We actually already see that into Newfoundland, Canada, into the Atlantic. Now, if this low pressure moves eastwards, the jet stream will also sort of move eastwards, if you see what I mean. So this ridge will move towards Eastern Europe, and this trough will move into the UK and Ireland. So we plunge into this quite cool polar maritime air mass if this takes place. Then finally, with Irish weather, the Arpège run. This is the French run. The JMA run, the Japanese run. Going through, we see that same system coming in through the weekend. I just explained how this works. It's colder around the top of the low. And then we end up on January 9th, 2023, midnight, low pressure over the Faroe Islands. We're bringing quite a cold wind from Iceland. Now, this is the weather for Queensland from weenie.com. I'll be going through the next about 10 days or so on this website, just looking at daily temperatures, rainfall, thunderstorms possible, could even be hail if they're intense enough, and things like that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this special part of the video. So starting right now, about 6:20 AM, I think it is, in this sort of region. Now, satellite, I know it's dark, but you can still see quite clearly where you've got clouds. So in the southeast, you can see, in the south of the southeast is quite clear, but in the north of the southeast, along the east coast, you've got a bit of clouds and a bit of high cloud into the southwest. Clear skies into the north of the southwest, if you see what I mean, around this area here. And then generally fair weather, bit of high clouds around. I think we've got a few storms out off the coast of the east of Queensland and into the north of Queensland as well. Current radar, we can see the showers along the east coast and into the north as well. Probably some lightning with them as well. Current situation with rain and thunder is that we've got thunderstorms into northern Queensland, showers along the east coast. Inland areas look rather dry. Now, as we move on into today, into this afternoon, I'd say this is around the time where temperatures will peak. So you can see widely across Queensland, you're into the mid-30s. Into the southeast, you're around the high 20s on the coast, low 30s inland. And along the coast, you're around the mid-20s, possibly with some storms and clouds. Northern Queensland sees around 30 degrees, but southwest Queensland sees the peak of the heat around 36 degrees. Rain, thunder, you're quite dry everywhere apart from the coast. You can see so along the east coast you've got showers coming in, perhaps some thundery activity off the coast, but onshore it shouldn't be too bad. Clouds cover, you can see largely clear in the south, maybe a bit of high cloud in the north, but quite cloudy in the east with showers and thunderstorms. Now, going through into, but I'll say this about the peak time on Saturday then. Temperatures, we get really, really hot in the southwest of Queensland, at about just shy of 40 degrees. In the southeast, you're again around the high 20s on the coast, low 30s inland, and elsewhere you're around the low 30s, a bit cooler probably in the far north of Queensland. Again, rainfall and thunder looks like you've got a very, very severe low pressure in the Pacific off the east coast. Hopefully that stays offshore and doesn't cause any problems. Along the east coast of Queensland again, and especially into the north, you've got quite a few storms, quite severe storms in the north of Queensland. On the east coast, you are very showery. Again, less cloudy than Friday, but still quite a bit of clouds. And inland, possibly just a bit more high clouds than Friday. Going through into Sunday then, we see storms coming into the north and west. Otherwise, you're mainly dry apart from a few scattered showers into the east. Temperatures look very hot into the southwest of Queensland, possibly up to 41 degrees there. Cooler and fresher into the southeast. That's good for you, Tyke. Low 30s inland, getting close to the mid-30s, and cooler along the coast, about mid-20s. And then again in the north, you're around high 20s, low 30s, just touching on 30 with the storms. Monday then, we see storms making progress inland across the northwest of Queensland, possibly a few showers developing in the southeast as well. You see quite a nice day for the south and east compared to Friday and Saturday with the cloud and the wind off the sea. High clouds in the southwest, storms in the northwest. Tuesday, then we see the storms making further progress inland into central Queensland by now. Really quite cool in the centre of Queensland, only in the 20s. Quite hot there in the east. Southeast looks high 20s, low 30s, while you're in the low 30s to the northwest, with a cooler air mass possibly coming in. It looks quite cloudy over much of Queensland, though the east and south looks quite nice still. And into Wednesday, we got further storms coming in across much of Queensland, possibly escaping in the south and into the east. Temperatures look very hot in the south, but elsewhere you're just into the 20s, possibly into the 30s. Very cool there in the southeast, actually, through the swathe here. Hopefully you aren't there, Tyke. And clouds, quite cloudy apart from the south. Then going into Thursday, widespread storms. Southeast escaping. That's nice for you. Southeast escaping. Temperature, very hot in the south. Clouds, quite cloudy, except for the south. And into Friday, further storms, possibly a few more showers into the southeast. And Saturday, quite a storm into the east, possibly coming southwards, and I can't really go any further than that. But I'd say over the next week or two, if you're in the south and southeast of Queensland, you've got the best deal. So that's very good for you, Ty. You've got a very nice few years coming up. Nice and warm sunshine, hot even, with only a few showers from time to time. Worst few days coming up now. After that should be nice. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.